That's what we hope. That's exactly what we hope, is to just reach that non-crypto audience that maybe wants an alternative to Gmail, because as we know, all those companies, your data is essentially how you're paying for that service.
Welcome to the Alpha Podcast, brought to you by Neverland Labs and hosted by me, Jusup, here in Buenos Aires. We're at the Polkadot Decoded Confrence in Buenos Aires. This is a special edition. These episodes are unique because I'm co-hosting them with Jay, who has his own podcast, and we're kind of working together where we're co-interviewing people and switching things up. There'll be a version on his channel and there'll be a version on this channel, so make sure to check out both versions, and we already know mine is going to be better. I want to remind you that everything you're about to hear is not financial advice, nor do we endorse any of the projects or guests on the show. It is simply meant for educational purposes, and sometimes we're learning about these people or projects in real time. While this is brought to you by Neverland Labs, the opinions expressed are of mine, the guests, and also Jay's. I want to give a huge shout out to Polka Häus, who brought us out here to make this happen. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this series, and let's tap into the episode. Welcome to the first time on the Alpha Podcast.
Yeah, man, it's been a long time coming.
Yeah. What are these? What
man. We'll grab yours. We could do a little toast. I know, but just grab it.
Okay.
Oh, you got another one back there, huh? You got a tricky one. Oh.
This isn't even out.
Oh, yeah. That's the nodal right there.
No. This is the Mackenzie special, the Jusup 11 version.
Ooh. All right.
Whoa.
Hey, he beat you to the drink.
This is real alpha right here.
I don't drink, so that's...
Yeah, I know,
cool.
But he beat you to one.
No.
All right, well, what you see here is the Polka Häus After Dark. Jay's got the Moon Sama.
Mm-hmm.
Jusup's got some kind of special one.
Yeah, what do you have there?
This is a Polka Häus After Dark.
Oh,
You got the Moon Sama, Donnie's team there.
We got another here.
Yeah, that's the Moonbeam. I'll taste that one.
Oh,
I've had one of these before.
Yeah.
But anyways, hey guys, thanks for coming. Some great feedback from everyone that's been interviewed by you guys in terms of like enjoying the podcast, enjoying this duo. I think it's worked out really well, and the people are really happy. Thanks for coming, guys.
Yeah, thank you for making a lot of this happen.
Yeah,
Dude, thank you for, exactly.
All of the equipment is no longer working because we spilled all over it.
Yeah, it's water resistant.
Wow. Oh, man,
the
this is
Moonbeam is
delicious.
great. First time I had one.
Man, he is good.
Yeah, Mackenzie's good.
He's good.
Yeah, dude.
Yum.
Potions.
Damn.
Whoa. Editors, keep that in.
The Jusup tastes good, eh?
Yeah.
Nice, man.
So win-win.
Hey, yours? I gotta ask Mackenzie about that. We got some awesome artists from Artera Labs. They're the ones that do all the art for the NFTs. And then Tricky NFTs and his team, they do all of the composing of the actual NFT. So yeah, it's an awesome teamwork between Mackenzie, Tricky NFT, and Artera Labs.
Yeah. This may be redundant for your audience, but can you give our audience and me a background on you and what you're doing in this space?
During the early days of Clubhouse, we would go into crypto rooms, which were primarily Bitcoin. And we'd get brought up on stage because we knew a few of the people like running those rooms. And then, we'd talk a little bit about Bitcoin, but then we'd get into Polkadot. And, naturally in Bitcoin maxi rooms, they'd be like, hey, stop talking about Polkadot. So then, my co-founders, Irvin, Tamara, Taylor, myself, we just said, let's just create this thing called Polka Häus. And we actually spelled the name wrong. It's actually not spelled that way in German. So our German friends get irritated about our spelling, but we just decided to leave it that way. And yeah, man, and that's how Polka Häus actually came to be, but it was never intended to be this serious thing that's now hosting Polkadot Decoded, a year and a half later from its inception. So,
yeah.
And how did you get into Web3 space in general? Like, how did you stumble on cryptocurrency?
Few people know this story, but I actually met Brad Garlinghouse in an event that I was at back in 2015. And he talked a little bit about XRP, and at the time I thought it was a good idea. That obviously didn't play out the way it was originally intended to be. It turned into a very centralized mechanism. But the idea in general was interesting to me, so that it kind of opened my eyes into the blockchain space and cryptocurrency. And so I started doing some research. And then just by happen chance, I happened to be in Ibiza in 2017 when the Polkadot team did their first ever retreat there. I talked to some of the guys that were there at the retreat. They told me a little bit about what they were doing, and the rest is kind of history.
Cool. And what are you working on now?
Well,
Anything big lately?
yeah, I mean, it's just a lot, Polka Häus, obviously, but we also have an infrastructure, for the blockchain space, a company called Mission Control, where we're providing infrastructure support, which means nodes for several of the parachains, other layer one blockchains, and really focusing on providing support on the node side for these parachain projects that are coming up. And then, we've got a small incubator fund, some of the, partners on there, we'll name very soon, and you'll hear more about this incubator fund. But, our first project that we incubated there is Sumi, that we presented yesterday for the first time ever here on the stage. And
it's an exciting project there. It's too bad we didn't get to interview David, but
David had to leave a little early. We're actually right in the middle of building it out. As you guys saw, is fully working product. We haven't conducted any raises so far. We've been building in stealth mode and incubating the project. And Gavin sent the first ever message across Sumi.
So do you want to say what Sumi is?
Yeah, it's basically like a decentralized wallet-to-wallet messaging system intending to essentially replace email on the blockchain. So you use your wallet to log in. You can send a message. We're calling them notes, so Sumi notes. You can send a note to any other wallet, including Bitcoin and Ethereum wallets. We'll soon have support for Solana, Avalanche, and all the other ecosystems, and the thing's built on Substrate. But the big thing that we want to do is kind of abstract the chain from this. Like people using a Solana wallet shouldn't care that it's built on Substrate. They're just going to log in using their wallet, send a message to another wallet address, and not even know that the thing's built on Substrate. But it's intended to replace email. You can add in text. Currently there's a bunch of different gating mechanisms you can add to it. So you can gate by NFT, you can gate by token. So it's really efficient at essentially filtering out spam.
What's so exciting about Sumi is you can think of lots of use cases within Web3, right? Like projects reaching out to their token holders and everything like that. But it seems like you guys are really building something that's useful to people who don't even understand what's happening.
That's what we hope. That's exactly what we hope, is to just reach that non-crypto audience that maybe wants an alternative to Gmail, because as we know, all those companies, you're essentially, your data is essentially how you're paying for that service.
Like from a privacy standpoint, how do I feel secure sending these? Like if I send a message, is it going to get hacked? Like what if it's on the blockchain?
That's the beauty of it, because we're using the encryption mechanisms built into the wallet. So essentially what each node is, it's a transaction, right? So the moment I send you a note, the only person that can open that note is the wallet owner, right? So I no longer own that note once I send it to you. So you're the sole possessor of that note. And then if you reply back, then you send that message back to me, and now I'm the sole owner.
Are they technically NFTs in a sense?
No, not really. They're transactions on the blockchain that are using the encryption built into the protocol. We did build in an additional encryption layer, kind of like a more old school AES 256 kind of encryption layer, where you could select to add a password. And so then I'd have to call you and be like, hey man, the password for this email is, whatever, Jusup is cool or whatever, right? And then
that's everybody's password.
Yeah, that's what I hear. But and then that way you would type that in, and then that's an additional layer of encryption that you can add to these messages.
Brush past Polka Häus. Can you explain what Polka Häus does and is?
Yeah, it originally just started as a room to hang out and talk about Polkadot. And it was just literally like me, Tam, Arya, Nicholas, we just hang out, talk about Polkadot. And then, Peter Morick started joining in, and then Dan Reeser, and then we had Ray Liu from BitCountry come on. And then it turned into this semi-AMA kind of platform. And then people asked us to start conducting formal AMAs, which we did. And then, we wanted to push in-person events. So then we just started hosting in-person events, and we've been approached by other communities where they're like, hey, can you guys help us, put on an in-person event here or there or whatever. And we really just pushed them to do it themselves, right? Polka Häus did it just organically, and we want other community members to do the same.
Polkadot is, from my understanding, is very, very technical, and there's really awesome tech that's being built on it. But one area of opportunity is kind of the ability to market and push Polkadot out there and in the mainstream light. What are some things that could be done, in your opinion, to kind of put that out there for to more people to know about Polkadot and make it a cool chain?
A cool chain. Yeah. Well, some of those that have heard me talk before will have heard this before, but for those that haven't, especially the audience at the Alpha podcast, I actually think that the time to market Polkadot is kind of like maybe now and into the future, right? A lot of the community used to really criticize the ecosystem for not marketing, but if we were really honest about it, there really wasn't much to market on Polkadot until about, I would say, 2 months ago, to be completely honest. Yeah. And so we finally got some working products on Kusama. We're starting to see some really functional products over on Polkadot. The teams are starting to push out, actual working code. So we're now finally being able to, really begin to market things. And then with cross-chain messaging getting deployed very soon, we just heard, Gavin talk about XCM v3. That's when you really have something to differentiate yourself. Because right now, if you look at it, Polkadot is an ecosystem of independent blockchains. They currently cannot interoperate. Once they can, and I'll make a correction, that they can interoperate, but
it's expensive, time consuming to make it happen.
And it's in a limited capacity, which, but once the full vision of Polkadot is enabled and XCM is enabled, and then we'll really be able to differentiate ourselves from other, layer one protocols.
One thing I really liked about Gavin's speech that we just saw in the opening there, he was kind of making a bit of a point that parity, Web3, these are not the authorities of the ecosystem, right? We want other people to step up and take some responsibility and build. And this is something that you've been an absolute expert in, and so casually, I might add, just casually throwing together Polkadot Decoded in a short period of time. One of your superpowers, I think, is surrounding yourself with awesome people, not just Jusup and I, man, but last night at dinner, so many cool and interesting people around you.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, whenever people associate Polka Häus with me, I kind of, it's kind of why I don't, want people to tag me as Alex with Polka Häus. I think Polka Häus is its own thing. Similar to what Gavin was saying, we've got a very powerful community at Polka Häus. We've got everything from parachain founders to team members, VCs and all kinds of people in our community. Is just ridiculous. And most most of the core people at Polka Häus, and then the core team, the mod team, which I have to give a special shout out to. Some of them actually traveled to Argentina on their own dime, I might add, to kind of help support this. We've got a really great core team. Cameron is out here from the Remark team, but also part of the Polka Häus team. Yoon from TRGC and Mission Control is out here as well. Irvin always supporting from abroad. He actually missed his flight and whatever. But we've got a great team of folks. Tam's over in Berlin, representing Polka Häus over there. So it's just a really strong team of folks that really gets the things done at for Polka Häus. And back to what you were saying, we kind of agree with that, right? But at the same time, we've heard that feedback from parachain teams because we're so close to them. But I think what Gavin said is right. The one thing that's kind of missing, and it's no one's fault, right? When we say there was nothing to market, 6 months ago, it's just because teams were building this brand new protocol and a brand new, coding language and, on a product that just got released, basically. You can kind of say the same about creating a support mechanism for those parachains, right? The parachains oftentimes hope for parity to support them a little bit more, but I think it's because there's this missing link. The teams were busy building on the parity side. They were busy building the infrastructure layer of what Polkadot is. The parachain teams were busy building their own projects, and the thing that kind of got left hanging was this. I guess we can call it educational outreach for developers to kind of learn about Substrate. Right? We had the Substrate Developer Academy, but that kind of got put on pause because the founders of the Substrate Developer Academy had to go build out their project, Akala. And so it's just these things that happen when you're building something that's so brand new, and you have to gain that adoption somehow.
And there's so much work to be done too, right?
Yeah,
It's like
time.
personally, I feel like if I stop, who's going to do it, right? You know what I mean? Like probably nobody, right? Because there's just all kinds of other things to do. I want to know, like, when you're like looking for talent, when you're looking for people you want to work with and help make things happen with, what catches your eye?
To be honest, it's just people that can operate on their own.
No.
And then, to kind of throw some love your way, I mean, that's kind of why I started associating with you, right? Because, I think I might have reached out to you the very first time. I don't think you reached out to me.
I think it's true.
Yeah, and I really liked what you were doing. You weren't really asking anyone for anything. You were just putting out good content and, hoping that someone would watch it.
Yeah.
And so, I thought that was like a really great initiative on your part. So we reached out to you and we were like, how can we help? And, we've talked about this in the past, but, helping you start up WAG Media, which we thought was an awesome initiative. Like we look for people that are just driven and wanting to kind of do things on their own.
It's crazy. This like decentralized thing we're building really rests on the centralized individuals
Yeah,
like
that's
taking
very
action
true.
and
Very true.
It's very cool, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we've mentioned it a few times, but a lot of this is like, it's a bet on the people building it. It's not even a bet on the projects or the tech anymore.
Yeah.
It's like the people who are building it is the only thing that's going to be able to make it happen. So it takes a lot of knowing, and even like I've talked to several investors during our round, and like that's what they're looking for, is they're betting on the person. That the tech is, whatever people are building is secondary.
Well, to that point, though, I think the Polkadot ecosystem is kind of unique because a lot of the project founders on parachain teams, they've been in the space for a really long time. I mean, hell, even Polkadot's it's taken 5 years to get to this point. So those that have been involved since the beginning have at least been through one cycle. When you have that experience, you can kind of prepare a little better for, future, the things that might come along the way, like what we're experiencing now, a downturn. And so teams are forced to make difficult decisions, but if the teams have kind of gone through this before, they're better prepared and they can think about how to prepare their project for situations like this.
Totally. Yeah, it's super necessary, and that's the strategy, is like being able to forecast the future a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, Alex, are you watching any other ecosystems besides Polkadot and Kusama?
Yeah, I mean, that's the one unique thing I think about what we do at Polka Häus. Our network is pretty broad, right? Irvin, one of our co-founders, he's one of the core developers over on Solana. Like he's building a project over there called the Open Era, and he's building a wallet that can work both on Solana and eventually on Polkadot. He built a mini app for Moonbeam for their governance project. And we don't like to be solely focused on just Polkadot and Kusama, because we do see that there's value with talking to other blockchains. One thing I do realize, because again of our relationship with other parachain teams, is that we do hear a lot of let's just call them complaints or things that could be improved, but we hear those same exact things from teams building on Solana, teams building on Avalanche. We're really close to a couple of the teams building games over on Avalanche, and they have those same issues that the teams on Polkadot have. And so it's that thing that the grass is always greener. Totally. But if you know about these things on all these other ecosystems, then maybe you can appreciate the ecosystem you're building on a little more. So yeah.
And I think what you said is the grass is always greener. It's like nobody's got the proven model yet. Like that's what we're all so new. Anytime somebody is like an expert, I'm like, what? You came in 2011 or 2021 on Clubhouse. Like some of these people literally got into this off of Clubhouse.
Yep.
Right. So it's
man.
Yeah. What are the most exciting things that you're excited for in the space of Web3 in general?
I mean, there's a lot. I really do want to see some other utilities for NFTs, and I think that's going to really change a lot of the kind of real world transactional processes that we have. And I think some of these NFT protocols and the newer NFT standards are really set up to kind of take advantage of that opportunity. There's also some really interesting DeFi projects that I'm seeing start to pop up, which are a lot more conservative and thinking about almost like a hybrid finance model. And I think that's actually more, in line with how we get to this, greater adoption in crypto. I think the period of these, unsustainable yields, it's got to stop, right?
Yeah.
And I'm starting to see protocols adopting more sustainable, approaches to their DeFi platform.
Less Ponzi.
Yeah.
For sure.
What's your favorite Ponzi of all time?
So do you collect NFTs?
I actually do not.
You do not.
No, man. Very few people know this. Yeah, I still to this day have not purchased a single NFT. Irvin told me about the Bored Apes like super early.
No.
Yeah, man. I passed. Tamara told me about the eggs super early. I passed. My wallet does have some NFTs. They've been gifted to me by friends and, the like, but I still to this day have not bought a single one.
Well, there's 6 questions I can't ask now. Just kidding. Well,
What's your favorite NFT you've ever been gifted?
The way I appreciate art is I do really like unique art, one of ones. The art I have hanging on my walls in my home are art pieces that I've collected in my travels when I primarily do disaster response work. And so I really like, when I'm there to, support some local artist and pick up an original art piece and bring it home, put it on my wall, and that way it's got a story behind it.
Yeah.
And so the art pieces I look for on the NFT side are more that one of one kind of unique kind of art piece. And, for example, the singular marketplace on Remark, I really like Marlua. I'm a fan of her art.
Yes.
I actually reached out to her to get her art in our NFT tunnel.
Looks good.
And it looks beautiful up there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
how do you feel this turned out? What do you think? Is this your first time in Argentina?
Yeah, actually, yeah. First time in Argentina.
What do you think of Argentina? What do you think of the event?
Man, I mean, it was certainly a challenge to put it on. For those that don't know, we literally did this in 4 weeks. Literally was handed the project in about 4 weeks ago. Luckily, I found this amazing production team. Marina and her team were just marvelous. They're local, and so it really enabled me to kind of share my vision with them in terms of what we wanted to do here, and they executed it beautifully. And so, I think it turned out great. We've gotten some really, really good feedback from people here, and then also people abroad. Like people that are at the other Decoded events are like, really feeling some envy of how this one turned out. A lot of FOMO, yeah. And so it's been awesome. But
just so you know, this was amazing. You're missing out.
Yeah, but no, I do want to give a special shout out to like the Moonbeam team, for example, because they did the very same thing. They took over the New York event 4 weeks ago. And I've been talking to their team. We've been kind of sharing the challenges we both experienced. And it was difficult to throw this event, and they did a great job in New York as well.
Cool.
And yeah, man, it was a really interesting experiment. It was just fun to kind of try it this way.
I think it's hard to imagine unless you're here, just like the massive scope of this event. I mean, the size of the space, you filled it with incredible like decorations. Aesthetically, it's very beautiful. You incorporated the demands of so many different teams, including like our podcast, and we had a lot of demands, right? And
I'm not gonna lie, they weren't met. Let's be real here.
Hey, you got a space, you got lights, you got plants.
Well, we did have to seal the plants.
You did
all
have
the places.
Yeah, that's very true.
But
the dunk tank became a barrier.
Right.
Like all the talks, uploading it live. Talks going on YouTube right away. Like so many aspects, so many moving parts. It's incredible what you guys pulled off.
Yeah, man. No,
and everybody, had such a good time, and without even realizing what happened there, without even realizing they're in this 4 weeks of mayhem to make this happen.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And to be honest, that's really the thing that we like to do for Polka Häus. I don't know if you guys can hear, but
I'm sure they can hear.
Yeah, we just threw up like a band we brought in from Mexico called Nortec. It's ridiculous. They just started playing right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, we like to make our events an experience for people. We don't want them to be boring. Polka Häus has a signature ball pit at all of our events. You had people laying in there watching the talks from the ball pit. We had a bunch of games and stuff. We want to make these things fun. You remember the experiences in your life. You don't remember going to a talk. You remember your experience. And that's kind of what we want to do for our events.
So what's next?
Yeah, next for us, we really want to kick off what we're going to call something like a world tour for Polkadot. Our plan is to kick off something in Mexico City and then go on about a 6-city tour across the world and kind of bring the ecosystem to where the people are. That's really what we want to do.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'll be there. You're going to be there?
Yeah, I want both of you guys there. And apparently Gav wants both of you guys there. I hear he really enjoyed your interview yesterday and wants to do another one. So yeah, we definitely need to bring you guys to all of this.
Well, we'll have many more. And this was a 2-day event. Wild. These world tours is going to be a week long, 5 days?
Yeah, the idea is like a 6-day, kind of like a hackathon, but we really want to do it a little bit different. I'm not going to give out too many details, but I will say, we want to not just focus on developers. There's a huge gap in crypto in the marketing space. We want to go after folks that are in marketing that aren't in crypto, bring them in, teach them how to market to the crypto community. Substrate has a huge issue with auditing. We want to bring in auditing firms to learn about Substrate, learn about how to audit Substrate, so that if we do onboard 40 new parachains, we can get them audited quickly and products out.
So I want to make a note. I was the only one to really finish this because there was no alcohol in it.
Let it be known.
Let it be known.
I'm not an alcoholic. I didn't just chug this.
Well, Jay, Jusup, I look forward to more with you guys, man. You guys did a great
likewise.
job.
Where can people find you online?
Yeah, Polka Häus on Twitter.
Spelt wrong.
Spelt wrong. Polka Haus. The wrong spelling part is the umlaut or whatever it's called over the A. Apparently, it makes them pronounce it as Polka Häus or something like that in German. So yeah, that's what it is.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alex,
Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Cheers.
thank you very much.
Let's go enjoy this
Cheers.
party.
Cheers.